Write down the word potential. Write down the word potential. Bless you. Write down the word potential. The only true measure of success is the ratio between what we might have been, what was possible, and what we've become. What's possible and where we are actually. That's the true measure. That's the ratio. And what we want to do is we want to reduce that gap. We want to be as close to our potential at any given time as we possibly can. I wrote down, success comes as a result of growing to our potential. And I wrote down here, as far as I'm concerned, we have limitless potential. We have limitless potential. But here's a question. Few ever try to reach your total potential. Why? Hello? Fear of? Fear of rejection. Okay, good. What else? Laziness. Okay. We don't like to think of ourselves as lazy, right? Yes. However, at 5:20 this morning, I really didn't want to get out of bed. And I went right into this lazy mode. It's cold. It was 37 degrees on my car thing this morning. It's terrible. The floors are freezing. You know, you touch the floors. We have all these hardwood floors and then these tile, and it was horrible. Okay? That bed kept looking better and better and better. And you don't want to be lazy. That's not what we are. We're not lazy people. And yet, even the best of us don't want to get up and get going. So we'd like not to be lazy, or we'd like not to be thought of as lazy, but that's part of it. Okay, why else don't we reach for our potential?
Complacency.
Complacency, huge one. We are where we are because we're okay with it. Because most of us, Bill hates it when I do that. Because most of us aren't where we should be. We aren't where we could be. But we don't do all the things that we should do. When we talked about October 30th, we said at that seminar, and a lot of you committed to being at every blitz, every phone blitz, every door blitz for those 10 or 12 weeks. How you doing? We committed to door knocking, or to going to see 5 previews a day, 5 days a week. 25 previews, previewing 25 properties for 10 or 12 weeks. How you doing? You committed to going seeing 5 expireds a day, 5 days a week. How you doing with that one? Are we lazy or are we complacent? See, it's got to be a little bit of both, because there's not one of us, including me, that doesn't need more. Agreed or disagree? We all need some more. Is there anyone here that couldn't use one more saleable listing that actually went into escrow and closed escrow before the end of the year? Is there anyone? No? It's another trip for you, isn't it, Ruth? Exactly. Exactly. One more deal. And yet, we didn't preview the properties. We didn't go see the expires. It was there, it was all laid out, here was the plan, and we didn't do it. Complacency and laziness. You know what I wrote down the answer? Because we can do anything, but we can't do everything. We can do anything, but we can't do everything. And therein lies the problem, because instead of just saying, okay, Dave and Bill and Diane and Neil, I'll take you at your word. I'll take you at face value. I'll just go do the activities that you suggested I do. Instead of doing that, you look over the counter here and you see what this agent is doing. And then you go over here and you see what that person's doing. And then you look over the horizon and see what that person's doing. And everything looks better than what we've asked you to do. So then you tend not to do it. How many work days left before now and the end of the year? Today is the 9th. So about 14 or 15 work days left. I didn't do the math before I got up here, I apologize. 14 or 15 work days. 17 days. I like her number better. Well, let's call it 14. Okay? What if you did work and do the 5 previews a day, 5 days a week, or 5 previews a day for the next 14 or 17 work days? What if you did that? What if you went and saw there's a ton of expires? The last 2 weeks, ton of expired properties have come up in the entire MLS. A ton. 2 or 3 times as many as normal. Ton of expires. What if you went and visited them at the door for the next 14 to 17 days? 5 a day for the next... What if? And then what if you door knocked 10 around each one over the next 14 to 17 days? Do you think you'd find a buyer or seller that would be interested in doing business now or in the very near future? Yes or no?
Yes.
Absolutely. Then why won't you do it? Let's move on. I wrote down here, to fix what we're talking about, because we can do anything, because we can do anything, but we can't do everything. I wrote down a few points that we're going to have to focus in on. So number 1, concentrate on one main goal. Concentrate on one main goal. No one ever reached his or her goal by scattering themselves in 20 different directions at any given time. Okay? Part of my success, of me as an individual and of our organization, is that we are pretty focused in what we do. The conversation I'm having with you today is similar to the conversation I had with you last month, right? It's pretty consistent with this conversation I had with you 6 months ago. In fact, those of you that have been with the company a long time, it's consistent with the conversation I've had with you 6 years ago, and 12 years ago, and 20 years ago, and 25 years ago, and 30 years ago, and as long as 40 years ago, consistently having a very similar conversation. Larry, you've heard my meetings for 30 years? Yeah? Is the conversation pretty consistent, right? Online with what we talk about. We're focused in what we're trying to do. And when you look around at the competitors, oh, one has a better month and one has a better week, and some have even a better year or two. But over 40 years, we crush them. Crush them. Why? Because we're consistent in what we do. We're focused, like a laser beam, with consistency. I'm not giving you 20 different things. This is not the 31 flavors of the month club. Today we're doing this flavor. Okay, today we're going to do door knocking. Next week we're going to do farming. Next month we're going to do pumpkins. Next month we're going to do, next month we're going to do, next month. We don't do that to you, do we? And now maybe we should. Because maybe you'd have more fun with it, I don't know. But the companies that do that, where are they? And where are we? Over time. Where are they? And where are we? With me? Without me? With me? Without me? Okay, that was a good movie. You should go see that. I wrote down here, sometimes we have to slow down to speed up. We are trying to do too much, too fast, and all of that derails us. We overestimate what we can accomplish in 12 months and way underestimate what we can do in 5 years. we way overestimate what we can do in 12 months, which discourages us. I want to do 100 deals. How many did you do last year? 3. But I'm going to do 100 this year. And then so when I don't agree that you can do it, you get mad at me. You don't believe in me. Well, I haven't seen anybody do it yet, and if anybody could do it, you're probably somebody that could do it. But then what happens is, when you go out and you start doing, you get discouraged because most people can't go from 3 deals to 100 deals. They just can't. It just doesn't work that way. And then you get discouraged, and then you fall off. Instead of being consistent over and over and over for the 5 years, you'll end up probably with 100 deals in 5 years per year. And that's not probably doable, that is doable. 20 houses a year the first year. And then over the next 5 years, add 20% to that. And in your 6th year, if you add 20% a year for 5 years, that's 100%. Got it? So now you're getting close to what? 40, 50, 60 transactions. That makes sense. If you're really good at it, you might get to 100. But you have to stay with it. That's the way this works. I wrote down here, concentrate on continual improvement. Second thought. Concentrate on continual improvement. Learn something new every single day. Concentrate on continual improvement. If nothing else, preview a property. Okay, you don't want to do 5? How about 1? You actually, just as a thought as I'm standing here, if you previewed 1 house a day for 30 days, and you did that for 12 months, that would be 365 houses that you previewed. It's my opinion that if you previewed 365 houses in a 12-month period, you would have seen more than twice as many homes as the average real estate agent sees in a year. Interesting, huh? Think about what I just said. 1 lousy house a day. I'm talking 5, let's just do 1. Maybe you can't do 5, I get it, 5's a lot. How about 1? 1, you'll beat the competition. Do you get where I'm going with this? If nothing else, preview 1 property a day. I wrote down, go see it for sale by owner. Just go visit them. Just go visit them. How about practice your scripts every day? A script. Not all the scripts, a script. If you practiced a script every day, every work day, would that change your business? Yes. Would it make you a better agent? Yes. Continual improvement on a daily basis. I wrote down here, learn more about the school districts. How well do you know the school districts in your marketplace? How well do you know what their scores are? How well do you know what's the better school and not the better school? I mean, you've heard things, but do you have stats to back them up? Doesn't take much. Most of that you can find online in Google. I wrote down here, exercise so you can have the energy to make a powerful presentation. And I wrote down the last thought on continual improvement. Commit to continued improvement is the key to your potential of being successful. Continual improvement on a daily basis. It's the small things consistently, not giant steps occasionally. I wrote down here the third thought, forget your past. This is an important thought. Your past is not a predictor of your future. I think you should write that down. Your past is not a predictor of your future. Your past is not a predictor of your future. Because you came from a poor family doesn't mean you have to stay poor. Because you've not learned how to handle money doesn't mean that you can't learn how to handle money. Because you've not learned your scripts and dialogues doesn't mean you can't start learning them today. Because you haven't previewed property before today at a high level doesn't mean you can't start today. Doesn't matter Your past is not a predictor of your future. Remember, I started as a poor little Jewish boy from Pico Rivera, okay? I didn't go very far in distance, but I did go very far in other things. I'm only 20 miles from where I grew up. It's a long 20 miles, ladies and gentlemen. A long 20 miles. I wrote down here, because you allow interruptions in your prospecting, doesn't mean you cannot change your behavior. Because you allow interruptions in your prospecting doesn't mean you can't change your behavior. And then I wrote down, no matter what you have faced in the past, you have the potential to overcome it. Doesn't matter where you've been, it only matters where you're going. Doesn't matter where you've been, doesn't matter. Some great stories, great things that are going on. There's a book, I'll send you all an email. I apologize, I don't have the name of it in front of me. Probably one of the best books on this subject, and I'll send you all an email at the end. It's something about the daily gift. It's a phenomenal book. And it's something I just picked up. I don't know if one of you recommended it for me or if it just came out of the sky, but I just heard about it, bought it, listened to it. Phenomenal book. I'll get that for you. No matter, it talks, that's exactly what it talks about. The person in this book was at the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the bottom, okay? In fact, was even considering suicide because for his family, at least he had some insurance. The something traveler, what did I tell you it was? The Gifted Traveler? The Traveler's Gift. Did you tell me about the book? Oh, thank you. Phenomenal book. Phenomenal book. It's a must-have for those of us that are on the ropes, financially, emotionally, spiritually. It's called The Traveler's Gift by Andy Andrews. I apologize, I have no idea who recommended this to me. And I'm listening to it on a CD. And it's a little corny. There's some interesting things, but this is an amazing book to help you re-look at things. Re-look at things. Just fantastic. And it doesn't, like I said, no matter what you've faced in the past, you have the potential to overcome it. The Traveler's Gift by Andy Andrews. One of the things it does talk about in there is actually a quote by Anne Frank, because what this guy does is he travels to 6 or 7 great people in history. And it talks about something that Anne Frank had written and talked about in her diaries, and that is we are the sum total of the people we meet, the books we read, and the things the people that we hang out with. You know, and that's something that we can change. We can change it with lightning speed. And I'm not suggesting you guys go out and get divorces, okay? It's not what I'm talking about. All right? I wrote down, this is the 4th thought. Focus on the future. Focus on the future. Your potential lies ahead of you, whether you were 18, 48, or 68. I am still signing contracts at 63 years old, out 10, 15, 20 years. I plan on being around, and I plan on being in business, and I plan on doing what needs to be done. I'm making the long-term commitment, okay? I'm going to try to sign contracts into when I'm 120, okay? So I can, be committed to living really long, all right? So that I have to finish paying off those debts and those things. Okay, maybe they'll keep me around, I don't know, Future pull. You can become better tomorrow than you are today. I wrote down here some thoughts. Winners and losers and what they do with their time. So I wrote down losers, they kill time. Winners, they use time. It's a thought. Losers, they waste time. Winners, they spent time. Spent time working on something or doing something. Losers, they lose time. Winners, they value time. Losers, they let time slip away. Winners, they organize their time. It's a thought process. It's a thought process. Think about what you're doing with your time. I wrote down here, always concentrate on the most valuable use of your time. This thought, always concentrate on the most valuable use of your time at that given moment, is what separates winners from losers. What are you concentrating your thoughts on right now? What are you thinking about? You thinking about winning and how do I get better and what can I work on and how do I get to the next transaction, or how can I help my children, or how can I work with this, or what book do I need to read, et cetera, or how do I run up there and grab this book from Neil before he gives it to somebody else, Right. I wrote down, stop waiting. That's the fifth thought. Stop waiting. You may have a million reasons not to get started now. You may have a lot of reasons not to get started now. In a month, in a year, or 5 years from now, you probably are only going to have one regret. And that regret is that you didn't start on your process now. That's the regret you're going to have. Let me ask you a question. Any of you regret not working on a script or a dialogue last January? Any of you regret not, since October 30th till today, not going to see the for sale by owners, the expireds, and previewing the property? Any of you regret a little of that? And that was only from October 30th to today. Be careful with this. The only regret you're going to have is that you didn't start now. I wrote down, you still have time. You can still list a home. The home can sell. And you can get it closed or almost closed by the end of the year, or certainly by the first week or two of January. So, here's the scenario, okay? You can either have the property close escrow and have a great Christmas because you have the cash in your hand, or you can put the charge on the credit card and know the transaction is going to close January 15th so you can make the payment on the credit card. Either one's okay. But what you can't do is charge on the credit card and pay the minimum balance in January. You can't do that. One of the best business and financial moves I ever made, this goes back 15, 18, 20 years ago now, is, and I didn't know this before this is just one of those be honest moments. I didn't know it was okay to pay your credit card off every month. I didn't know that. I mean, I never really thought about it. What I would do is I would charge whatever I would charge, and then the next month I would pay the minimum. And what changed my financial life at that particular moment was that I never bought anything on a credit card from that point forward that didn't get paid off the next month, period. No exception. Not one exception in 20 years. Not 1 month. And let me tell you something, there were some tough months. But oh my gosh, I overspent, I did this, I bought a suit, and I forgot, whatever. No way. That got paid off. Changed my financial position dramatically. Not overnight, but if you think about it, over 20 years, that's a huge discipline at one item. I wrote down here, today matters. To work to your potential, we must look at what we're doing every single day. To work to your potential, we must look at what we're doing every single day. I wrote down, to change your life, you must change something you're doing daily. We talked about work on a script for half an hour a day. Go see one preview a day. Go see one expired a day. Not 5, 1. Just one. At the end of the year, I promise you, you'll have seen more than double your competitors. I wrote down how you spend the next 24 hours are going to speak volumes about how your future will evolve and whether or not you will start on the path to reach your full potential. What you do in the next 24 hours. Will you get out of this meeting and start making some calls? Will you get out of this meeting and make sure that you set up to be at the blitzes for the balance of the year? Will you get out of this meeting and go right behind the office and go preview some property? Will you get out of this meeting and sit down with somebody and work on a role play? Will you get out of this meeting and set up with people in this meeting for role play partners for the balance of the year? What you do and commit to doing and take action with in the next 24 hours are going to speak volumes about how 2013 will end. Because it still can end with another deal or two. It still can end with another 2 or 3 listings. Still can do it. Hickson's just took 3 listings this last week. That was one of their better weeks. Now this is December, 3 listings in December. We have a number of you that have sold houses already so far this month. Let me give you another number. In November, the company put in escrow, one at a time, 2 at a time, 190 transactions. 190 transactions. 190 transactions. It's kind of a ripple. It wasn't done. It's for you. You did this. 190 new opened transactions in the month of November, which is as good a month, opening-wise, as we had any other time the rest of the year. We were opening a couple hundred deals a month. 225 was the top that we did. And you did 190 in November. And it looks like you're on track for a similar December. Think about it. Listings taken. We took 148 or 152 listings in the month of November. You did. And what do we see in the chart? The graph? Inventory's dropping? Not ours. Not ours. Not yours. It's rising. We're doing deals. There are deals out there. Take advantage of it. Put another one in. Take another listing, or 2 or 3. That's okay. Make another sale, or 2 or 3 before the end of the year. It's possible. If you think you can, or you think you can't, you're right. Think about that. If you think you can, or you think you can't, you're right. Now let's go out and make this our best week ever. Thank you.